do for their investment business. However, it may have been required that when you're negotiating with the seller, rather than scaring them off and putting it in your company name with an and/or signs, you put it your first name, Brad Wozni, and/or signs. And if they ask what and/or signs means, obviously you're stating to them that you're a real estate investor, and with the amount of properties that you do, you have to seek advice from your attorney and your accountant in terms of where this property should go under which one of your legal companies and entities. And this is what we do all the time, and it works just fine. I'll see you on the next video. We're going to discuss a residential lease with option to purchase. All right, welcome back. Now, I'm going through a residential lease with option to purchase agreement rather than a rental agreement because for the clients that I've worked with and for many of my students that know me, I'm absolutely not a fan of renting single-family and condominium properties. In fact, I am very much against it. And the reason for that being, if you've never heard me speak before, is that I'm pretty ticked off that there's a New York Times best-selling author out there who's making a killing selling books, and he does have some very good content, but is going around telling people that the way to wealth is through cash flow properties and that people should be getting involved in these single-family properties and moving to commercial. You know, it is a half-truth that this individual is spouting, because what's happened is people are getting involved in single-family properties and trying to create a net positive cash flow on those properties, and they're barely getting by. For example, you have a $250,000 or $200,000 or $300,000 property, they're renting it out for $150 to $200 positive cash flow. That means all money's above principal, interest, taxes, and insurance that they pay. And you know something, to be scraping by on $150, $200 a month on a property that's, you know, $250,000 give or take, is absolutely ludicrous, because your cost as soon as you have a vacancy in that property, your cost as soon as you have an issue with the plumbing, your cost as soon as you have to factor in landscaping, or if you live in the eastern U.S. or you're in one of the states or provinces that get snow, you've got to do snow shoveling and snow removal, are just going to eat away at those minimal profits. And it's absolutely not the way to get started in real estate investing. In fact, that's the primary reason why 92% of all investors drop out in their first 3 months, and 90% of all the remaining investors don't survive their first portfolio because it's too hard, it's too costly and expensive. And then if you went to resell that property with the tenant in it, it's very difficult to do so because the savvy and the strategic investor knows that the way to cash flow single-family properties is through owner financing. And if you don't do it through owner financing as a way to cash flow property, then another great strategy is to do multi-units. Beyond that, I am absolutely against renting out single-family homes or condominiums as the first strategy for starting up your real estate investment business. That is a more advanced strategy. It's very simple, but why I consider it advanced is your business needs to be advanced to the point enough that you're getting properties with a significant equity position, you can rent them for a great net positive cash flow, and that you have the financial liquidity within your business to stand for any unforeseen circumstances which may arise with the tenant in that single family property, and then you can cover those expenses and it's not going to kill you. So I want to make sure that is well known up front. And you might be asking, well then, Brad, why the heck are we looking at a residential lease with option to purchase agreement? Well, because virtually every single one of my clients and every single one of my students that I come across already is doing this strategy, has went out and bought a single family home to rent or a condominium to rent, and they're barely breaking even, or they're actually